Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we're stepping into 3 standalone worlds. Right now, we're diving into a dark academia mystery filled with obsession, ambition, and just a little bit of murder. That's right, grab your scripts, memorize your alibis. We're headed to Delacour Classic Conservatory.
7 actors, 1 stage, and absolutely no sense of boundaries between fiction and reality. Just like this podcast. Welcome to the world of rivalries, rehearsals, and the kind of ambition that doesn't just crave the spotlight, it kills for it.
In this episode, we'll be discussing If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, Act 1, where we're introduced to an elite group of actors, a whole lot of tension, and the early signs that this is less of a college experience and more of a tragedy in progress.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes all 3 standalone novels we'll be covering this season and any fan discussions we find online. We're also avid fans of the Moss universe and might accidentally let spoilers slip for other popular romantasy book series as well. Sorry in advance. Like the books, this podcast is rated R, so be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you want some bonus content and behind-the-scenes chaos, join our growing community on Patreon.
All right. Well, we are finally starting If We Were Villains, which I've been looking forward to, although this one's a little bit different from the books that we've read so far. I mean, honestly, maybe we should have started this season with this book. I'm not sure. It's definitely going to be a quick read, which is, I think, weird for us. Like, I'm so used to us spending like 40 years on one series, but it does start pretty quickly with a quote from Hamlet, which I'll read. So it's Act 1, Scene 5. Oliver, who is referred to in the first prologue as the boy, sits and thinks to himself, "But I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. I could a tale unfold, whose lightest word would harrow upon my soul, thy soul." And this is in Hamlet spoken by the ghost of Hamlet's father, or who claims to be Hamlet's father, and he's telling Hamlet to avenge his death. And I thought that that was an interesting opener to our story, because Oliver quoting the ghost and not Hamlet himself kind of makes me think like maybe he feels like he's the one that's trapped and needs somebody to tell his story. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. It did bring up some questions for me. Not the quote, but like the whole prologue, because I was like, okay, obviously somebody died or some bad thing happened.
Right.
And they never got the truth out of them. And this guy is in jail. But is anybody else in jail? Or did they go down for smaller crimes? Or did he take the blame for everything? And who's he covering for? Because obviously, I mean, I feel like he's, like the police officer said that he never thought that this guy was guilty of the crime.
Yeah, Joseph Colborne is our police officer that we're going to see intermittently throughout the book. And he doesn't think that this person, which is Oliver, is at fault for this crime, which we don't know what the crime is yet, and we don't know really any of the details.
But I'm assuming it's very grisly. The fact that he can't let go and he wants to know what happened that night, there has to be some sort of grisly aspect to it. I actually read that part as the opposite. I felt like that Oliver was Hamlet and the ghost of whoever was killed was the one that wanted him to avenge.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong, but
No, I think that's a reasonable take.
But yeah, I felt like it had to be some sort of grisly crime.
I'm going to go ahead and just say for all the listeners, I hate Shakespeare. I know nothing about Shakespeare. And all like Romeo and Juliet is probably about as like this is taking me back to like 9th grade English lit. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest Shakespeare fan. I I guess I don't really see this as like a book about Shakespeare. You know, it's kind of like a overarching theme
Yeah.
to look at it through.
I mean, it doesn't like it's not about Shakespeare, but there's a lot of Shakespeare references and quotes and whatnot that
yeah. If you know Shakespeare, reading this book, it makes me think either you love it or you hate it, because it's like, I feel like you could know Shakespeare really well and then read this book and be like, this is a terrible use of the of the plays or whatever. But I don't know. I think you don't have to know Shakespeare to enjoy the book, which is kind of interesting because they give us, in my opinion, the important parts on the text. So if you don't know Shakespeare, they kind of still make it clear for you. But if you did, it might help enlighten it.
They do. I think the important part of this is for the theater type aspect for it, because I think for a lot of those, whether it's theater, film, or things like that, you spend so much of your time being somebody else. So even in your everyday average, like conversing with someone, being able to use quotes from characters is a helpful way to kind of navigate communication for an actor, I think.
Yeah.
I'm also going to point out that Christy is our resident theater nerd.
Yeah. Christy loves Broadway and theater in general.
Oh, God. I was so excited when I was like, oh, yeah, this book is my jam.
So we have one person who hates the thought of reading this book and one person who is super excited.
Oh, yeah.
I don't hate the thought of it. I just don't like being in the know. And since I don't like Shakespeare, it's like...
You mean you don't like not being in the know, I guess?
I don't like not... Well, I don't know how I said that, but I don't like not knowing all the little Easter eggs and the little details. And
okay, that makes sense. I was so confused. I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
He's been in jail for 10 years?
Yeah.
And he's gotten paroled. So I wonder, like, did he go down for murder, or was that, like...
It seems implied, at least, in the beginning.
I'm guessing it was a group project.
You're guessing that it was what?
You're going to go ahead and guess, like, put your hypothesis that everyone's involved?
I'm guessing the murder was it was a group project.
Okay. It's a group project.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I can see that. They were kind of ready to kill him by the end of this act.
Okay. And him being Richard.
Yes.
Dick.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
So we think it's Richard that is going to die?
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'm hoping it's Richard. But I think it's going to either be Richard or James. Something with them, because they seem like, you know, Richard is supposed to be like the guy who plays all the villains or the scary people or the impressive tyrants, warlords and whatnot, tyrants. And James always is the good, like, fall in love hero tragedy boy. So
yeah, so let's talk about the characters, because Oliver agrees to tell Colborne his story because Colborne says, well, lucky you, I'm leaving the police force and I want to fucking know what happened. So
which I was like, tell me? Don't tell him, police lie. Police lie.
You know, Oliver, I guess, just really wanted to get it off his chest because he immediately starts talking to him. But he says he'll tell him, technically he says, I'll tell you once I get out of prison. But then we start getting the story. So let's talk about the characters. So we've got we already mentioned Richard, who he plays like typically the tyrant warlord types. He's tall, he's menacing, he's big. And we already mentioned James, who is the hero, main character, main love interest, you know, the beloved main character, I guess. Mm-hmm. We've also got Oliver, who is kind of the sidekick. He's like the best friend. He's always there, but he's usually not the main character, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes the leftovers.
He's got background character energy.
Yeah. And who else?
There's Philippa.
Philippa.
She, if I remember correctly, she was the one who kind of gets overlooked, and she has to mainly play males.
Yeah.
Because there aren't enough good female characters to give her one or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's kind of typecasted as like sort of the supporting extras in a way. Like, not quite an extra, like she's out of the scene, but she's usually multiple different characters.
Yeah.
Typically.
Meredith.
She's
Meredith.
kind of like the sex object. She plays the leading female typically, or the
Femme fatale sex object.
Richard's girlfriend.
The romance. Yeah. And yep, she's dating Richard. And then we also have Ren.
Ren is Richard's cousin, right?
Yes, correct. And they're both... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that they threw that out there at the very end of the last scene, and I was like, what?
That's also... What? No, it's earlier on, but it's not... Yeah, it's in scene 2 or 3. It's like just barely mentioned there, because there's a comment about how weird it would be if she was cast to play the love interest of Richard. And so she's typically cast as the ingenue or another smaller female part, partially because she's Richard's cousin. But yeah, it's not that focused on, but they are supposed to be related. Who are we missing? Alexander.
Rin is also, she's the emotional one, the peacekeeper. She was the one who was like, I experience all the emotions, but I also, I forget what, like her strength was I experience all the emotions, but she has trouble controlling it or getting rid of it or working past it. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
I think I don't even remember what they say her strengths are. I think the way I see her is like, if Meredith is the femme fatale, then she's the innocent character. She's the one that is typically overlooked in terms of like sexiness. Like she plays a youthful, young kind of like woman character.
Yes. Like like a little girl almost.
Yeah. So in some ways she has to take on that character too, because she's usually the one that's emotional or crying or like, you know.
Yeah. And then Alexander.
The one everybody forgot.
He really is the one that plays villains, or he plays like nefarious looking types because he's got that look about him. He's the mischievous one. So I noted at the beginning of this, like the first impression we get of all of them is kind of indicative of all of their characters or like roles or whatever. Richard is first seen like sitting on a big armchair, like it's a throne, like legs stretched out. And the first thing he says is, "'Tis now dead midnight," which is like, okay, dude. And then Philippa, her first line is, "Spare us." And she sees, like, I feel like she sees right through it all. Like, she's the one that is never fully in the action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Alexander is like, whenever Richard says he's going to go up to bed, and because he's had enough of the night, Alexander's like, he says as if he's concerned about like staying up all night. So Alexander's always like stirring the pot a little bit, you know?
Yeah. That whole scene with all of them there, I feel like it just set up kind of like this is fate mentality, because they were like, why even prepare? We're just going to get typecasted, and there's no use. This is how it's going to be. And that's why I think when they get their assignments for Macbeth, that Richard is really kind of not happy about it.
Well, I feel like there's something really dark to Alexander, like something that he hides really well, but some sort of, I don't know. And I can't even point to like specific things that he said, or if it's the description that others either have of him or Oliver's way that he looks at him. But there's something.
Alexander.
Yeah. Dark about Alexander.
He's an interesting character to me. He's one of my favorite characters because, like Philippa and sort of like Ren, the three of them are kind of like overlooked in the narrative a lot in favor of James and Richard and Oliver, which is funny because it's like, it's remaking the play, right? Like, James, Richard, and Oliver are usually center stage, and the rest of them are usually not.
Yeah.
And so, really, their characters are also kind of playing that role, too.
I also felt like, so Oliver is the one
And Meredith.
who's giving us this story. He's the narrator.
Right.
And I don't know about y'all, but did you get the hint that, like, I don't know, James felt like he could do no wrong. And I wonder how much Oliver is portraying him that way.
Portraying James that way?
Yeah.
Yes, like, because this is all coming from his perspective.
Yeah.
Like, I got this weird feeling about them.
He's in love with them.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It did. It felt like
I mean,
an idolized kind of.
Yeah.
the idolized, I wasn't gonna go quite as far as love yet. I don't know. But they just seemed roommatey.
It may not be romantic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even, I mean, he very well may be in love with him romantically or not. But yeah, it was just, they're roommates, and it was like, James could do no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Everything Oliver says about James is like, he's so cool. He is so good at his role, and he's never a part of that drama. Like, you know, like, I agree with you. Oliver's portrayal of him.
And you know, one thing that comes to mind is how y'all talk about an unreliable narrator.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, we are looking at this completely from Oliver's point of view.
Yeah.
So is that truly how it is? Is he portraying each of these people as maybe not quite as reliably as...
Well, yeah. I mean,
maybe Oliver...
It's like...
maybe Oliver's playing
like
his role.
In ACOTAR, the first 3 books, everybody was like, oh my God, Reese is the best, and he's portrayed this certain way. But then when you put Nesta as the narrator, he's portrayed... Reese comes off way differently because Nesta doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
And...
True.
So I was like... I don't know. I will say this for the audiobook. As always, I listen to the audiobook, and I don't understand why in normal books I can hear so many of these names like Feyre, Rhysand, Cassian, and be able to keep track of every single character and know who's who. But in this book, we get Richard, Meredith, Philip, Oliver, James, and I was like, and who's Gwendolyn? And what's going on? Like, who is this? I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I noticed you were having trouble with that. But yeah, Gwendolyn is kind of implied to be a coach or professor, but they don't really outright state it until you meet her. Yeah.
Yeah. But and
I think maybe you were a little caught up in like the Shakespeare of it all, you know?
Like,
it's a lot.
It was a different experience than any other audiobook I've ever read.
Interesting. I think, well, maybe it's because when you look at the text, there is an intentional formatting to make it look like a play, because it'll be like Oliver, blah, 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 Philippa, all blah, 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 Meredith, blah, blah, blah. And it has like the colon and like doesn't necessarily have quotation marks or anything like that.
That's how they read it in the audiobook, and that's how I was picturing it, because I've looked into screenplays.
Or when he
before.
sneezes, it says sneeze.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like, is like a screenplay.
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of really beautifully picks up on how theater people are, in the sense that, like, for them, it seems like everything around them is vital. You know, every sense is vital, every touch, you know, everything. And that, so the way that I put it in the notes was kind of like, instead of plugging a device into a socket, they're like, why let the device have all the fun? And instead put their own finger into the socket, because they want to live and feel everything. So
I love that. The way you said that, I loved that. And when I read that, I was like, I just hope she says that out loud in the audio. I was like, yes, I agree with you. I think that understanding of these characters is like, it really highlights, like, they think that this is their lives. Like, they take it so fucking seriously. And they meld into the characters.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, even looking at it as being written like a screenplay, again, we're going back to Oliver's point of view. So in his mind, he probably sees his life like a screenplay.
Yeah, I don't know Hamlet well enough, but I honestly think, oh God, I would love to hear from someone who is like really into Shakespeare, but I wonder if Hamlet is one of the main indicators for how this play is going to go. Like, if you hadn't read this whole book, but you knew Hamlet, could you predict the plot? Is what I wonder. You know, like plot, like point for point. Because it starts off with that quote by Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is that an indicator to the reader? Like, this is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did get one of my favorite lines from Act 1 in this first scene. Are we Richard or are we Dick?
Meredith. I do love that line. Are we Richard today or are we Dick? I think, when I first read this book, I was younger and dumber. And I think I immediately was like, Meredith. Like, I just didn't really like her a lot. And I think that was such a naive, like, not girls supporting girls way to read it. And I actually love Meredith's character.
I don't know if I've made any decisions on anybody, except for that I don't trust Richard. James is coming off a little too shiny.
Yeah, that's fair. We don't know a lot about James.
Yeah. Alexander, as you said, even in the notes, we didn't really make that many notes about him. He feels like maybe he's doing something in the background.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised you guys didn't make many notes about Alexander, considering he's in a lot of scenes.
And it could be, again, the audiobook, but he doesn't stick out in my mind.
Yeah, I understand.
He's like a shadow.
In scene 1, though, he's the one that says, I bet $50 this is what everyone's part is going to be. And he said Richard is going to be Caesar, because since they're all in their 4th years, they all have to do tragedies this year. The Shakespeare plays are broken up by year. I think the 2nd year is comedy and history, and then the 1st year you don't get to be a part of the plays. You have to be like stagehand and whatever.
Yeah.
But he says Richard is Caesar, James is Brutus, Alexander will be Cassius, Ren will be Portia, and Meredith will be Calpurnia, and Pip, a cute nickname for Philippa, by the way, is going to be some male side character, and Oliver is going to be Octavius. And he actually forgets to name Oliver who he's going to be until Oliver's like, what about me? What am I going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the one that makes that prediction, even though it doesn't totally come true when they get their parts.
It's because they get like several roles. Some of them get 2 and some of them get 3. And
yeah.
I was like, the way the school set up is like they said that basically, I'd be pissed at this school, first of all, because if I went to the school and then got cut after 1 year of giving them my money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But basically,
that's such a art school hoity-toity thing to do as someone who went to art school.
Well, it sounded like for this one that there's some sort of connections that if you make it at the end, you're virtually guaranteed to succeed. But all of them seem to come from some kind of money or access to something that they can use to get in.
Yeah. It sounded like even if you don't graduate, you have connections just because you went.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's the way that they have it set up. The school is very competitive. They have, like, you get your class cut half pretty much up until your 4th year. There are literally only 7 students in 4th year.
Yep.
How do you have a play with only 7? I mean, you can, obviously, but they're playing 2 and 3 roles.
And they have 2nd years also in it.
Yeah, that seems like that would be nuts.
But there's 2nd years involved too.
For me, it makes like everybody seems, if you're technically vying for the same roles as your class is getting smaller. So I'm surprised that any of them are even friends, except for the fact that they seem to be
the perfect acting troupe.
Yeah, they kind of, what's the word? Acclimated to, accepted that this is the way it's going to be, and that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
there's no way to even try for another part.
I mean, Oliver says in scene 1, he would change the casting completely and change it up.
Yeah.
And that's when we learned from James that James has told Frederick to give him more variety in his roles.
Yeah.
But I do think that the program, the way it's set up, is definitely set up to pit these students against each other.
Yeah, and then make them live in the same room as each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think it's a really good representation, though, of that world.
Yeah.
And how a lot of this between students, between just actors themselves act. So I thought it was a really good representation of, because you are vying for the same roles, you are competitors, but yet at the same time, there's such an insecurity and a deep need for that connection, not just for your art, but for your own self. Because again, I think a lot of people in that world are deeply, deeply insecure. And so you latch on to each other, even if at the same time you'll cut each other's throat to get to the next level.
Yeah.
I
think that's a good point for these characters. I agree.
Ambition that will kill.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember in the trailer I said something along the lines of like, you get so caught up in doing it that you don't ask yourself if you should?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still keep thinking of that, throughout the reading of it. But we get to the point where we learn a little bit more about them. We get some background on where they live. They live in this building called the Castle, even though it's not a castle. It just has a turret.
When they were describing the buildings or whatever, all I could think of was Clue.
Yeah, it's kind of like Clue in a way.
A little bit. Which I loved it. The writer did such a beautiful job of the descriptions. And
yeah,
I was a little shocked at first that this was a tiny town in Illinois, because my first thought was, really? But then I thought, okay, maybe they're outside Chicago. And later on, it says something about Chicago. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. You know how those liberal arts schools are.
But I thought, why did I think when this started out, it was like an other realm kind of situation? And then it was like Illinois. And I was like, wait, what?
I don't know.
Too much fantasy. This is our first non-fantasy book.
But that's not what my brain does.
But you know what? That's so fair. I mean, like, honestly, I'd immediately be like, okay, this is not a real world. Like, we've read mostly fantasy, so it makes sense. Your brain wasn't prepared. But one thing about where they live, out there by themselves in Illinois, it's just the 7 of them in that castle. Like, there's the library, but, like, it's just the 7 of them that live above that library. They are isolated. I just want to point that out.
That would be amazing.
I know, right? So we already talked about how every year the students are cast out of the program, which is pretty crazy. We talked that we said that Meredith and Richard are an item. Ren is Richard's cousin. James and Oliver are besties. And then we get to the point where they
did it in the rehearsal hall with the candlestick. Anyway,
she killed, or she did it with the candlestick?
It's Clue. She did
my
it in
God.
the rehearsal hall with the candlestick.
I didn't know if she had a happy time with candlestick.
Not that
sure.
kind of did it. Not that kind of did it. Maybe, unless, maybe her and Richard, but
Just
maybe she did. Maybe she and Dick did it with the candlestick. Ugh.
All right, so I'm going to kind of skip ahead a little bit. We saw that they each did their auditions. Oliver reads for Pericles, which he's expected to do. Frederick recommends that for him. And they all have this moment where they're sitting at the bar and they're waiting to find out their parts. And they literally sit at the bar all day drinking. And then after, they learn their parts, which Oliver is playing 2 parts. He's playing Octavius and Casca instead of what Alexander said, and Philippa is playing 3 parts. And we also find out that Richard, who in the previous year was doing like 2 or 3 different plays simultaneously, so he was doing rehearsals for like 11 hours or something a day.
Yeah, and
now his role is halved.
Yeah, he dies in Act 3 or something, so he's out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Rin says that. She's like, you die in Act 3 and you don't even have to like rehearse for the rest of the play. But so after that, they've all had drinks. They've been drinking and doing their own thing. And then they run down to the dock outside of the castle. And this is kind of where we get more of a sense of who they are, their backgrounds.
How shitty their parents are.
Their parents. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Also, Meredith is the first one to be like, we should skinny dip. And Alexander's like, you can't keep your clothes on for 24 hours, can you? And Philippa's like,
to be
maybe
fair,
if Rick could keep her happy.
To be fair, almost nobody keeps their clothes on for 24 hours. We change clothes to go to sleep or to shower or whatever. I'm just saying.
I mean, I think that they are just fucking with one another, but
yes. I was like, when I read that, I was like, nobody keeps their clothes on for 24 hours if they can help it. Like,
yeah. But he starts rolling a blunt, doing his thing. Alexander is almost always high. And Richard gives Philippa a look like, I don't know, they're like, he's flirting with her. They're all kind of flirting and messing with one another. And we learn that Oliver says something like, we had like 7 siblings, spent so much time together that we had seen the best and worst of one another and were unimpressed by either. So it's like, you just get this idea of like, this is one big family that like knows each other a little too well, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're tired of each other's shit.
Yeah. Talk about siblings.
I remember thinking that their parents are all assholes and like basically almost none of them actually support their kids or care about their kids or pay attention to their kids.
Right. And then in turn, they look for that family in each other. But I think the whole aspect of them being unimpressed with the good or the bad is where that comfortability lies. That the fact that they have seen the best and the worst and they're still together gives them a place that they can
until they crack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cracks in a group like that.
Yeah. I think we'll see what happens. You know, I always thought it was weird that we never hear anything about Philippa's family.
Yeah.
Like anything.
I mean, I wonder if she keeps it close to the vest.
She does. She rarely inserts herself into any of the conversations that they have. Why do we think that is?
It's probably along the lines of like, I'm here and y'all are the only people around and I'll put up with your shit for so long until I can get the hell out of here.
Oh, you don't think Philippa is like as connected to them as
I don't know.
The others?
I don't think so. Like when I love something, I tend to get into it a lot, but at the same time, like, how do I say this? I love Star Trek, but I don't know how well I would feel at a convention dressing up as a character in Star Trek. So I don't know how I would feel around people who are that into things. So I would probably just be quiet and observant and there. I don't know if I'm explaining this
Philippa,
correct.
Does she have some sort of connection to, like, through her family to another one of the families that they don't know about?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't have much of a handle on her. I don't really honestly know what to think of her at this point.
Honestly, same. Yeah, I get that. I think it's interesting that we don't learn about her is kind of my point. It's like, why don't we know anything about her? Why doesn't she want to talk? Why doesn't she want to be a part of everything when it seems to be like implied that everyone is this big happy family? I don't know.
She seems to observe more than anything else. Like, not even just that she's quiet, but that she's actually watching them.
Yeah, I don't know what Philippa's thing is, but we also learned that Richard and Ren come from a long history of acting, and they are expected to do well. And they're from London.
I missed that part that they're from London. That I feel cheated that my narrator does not give them British accents.
Mine's British.
Don't think mine is. Mine
For Richard?
For Richard and
Richard
Ren.
especially.
British accents?
If they're like in my audiobook, his was just like some deep voice of, and I didn't pick up any accent for me.
I think is yours like the Audible one with the light color?
Libby. I don't know.
Oh, it's on Libby. I don't know. My Audible version has them with British accents, especially Ren. Hers is kind of an annoying British accent, actually, if I'm being honest with you. She kind of annoys me in general, Ren. I don't really know why. I think it's maybe the narrator, though. But anyway, as they're all like messing with each other and being, silly, they're all a little drunk, Alexander pushes Richard into the water. And everyone's like, oh my god, haha, it's so funny, it's okay, everything's fine. They don't even think anything of it. That is kind of a precursor to me, but at the same time, everything in this scene is fine. You know what I mean? Like, nothing is going wrong at this point.
It's because he hasn't lost his role yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to skip past what is it
Classes?
called? The convocation.
Oh, the speech.
The convocation.
And the cake. That's pretty much all I remember from that scene, is that there was 7 disciplines of the school, and that they all click and sat with with their own people, and that there was a cake.
Yeah, that was flashbacks to art school for me, because we did all do that in art school. We all stayed within our majors, typically, for the most part.
Well, okay, and I might be doing like the whole numbers thing that you and Brittany like do, but it seemed like there were a lot of 7s in this book. So
yeah, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I never really thought about it, but I wonder if there's something to that. Like, 7 is like the number of completion, right? I don't know.
So
completion.
I mean, theater people
like
are known to be superstitious. I'm just saying.
True.
The Scottish play.
That's a good point.
And I would like to know what the fuck King Pigeon Pose is.
I do not know. I don't even remember that.
I know what pigeon pose is in yoga, but I've never heard of King Pigeon. Like, how the fuck do you make it royal?
Give it a crown. That's how. Just give it a crown.
Okay. So we do learn from Gwendolyn. We have our first day of class back. Gwendolyn tells them things are going to be different this year. She's going to push them. They're going to do weird shit. Gwendolyn seems to be the one in charge of the actual acting kind of teaching and the getting to know your roles, like understanding yourself as part of the role, like all kinds of stuff like that. And then Frederick seems to be the one that teaches them the book stuff, the, know your lines, what should we read into iambic pentameter and all of that.
I hate
we don't get too in the
pentameter. Thank you very much. No studying for me.
We don't get too in the weeds on it, but for the most part, just know that that's who they are. We do know that Gwendolyn pushes them to talk about their strengths and weaknesses, and that Meredith has to go first.
Meredith volunteers to go first. She's like, I got this.
Yeah.
And regrets it immediately, which, to be fair, I would probably have buckled under that. I hate that. Sounded like an interview where, like, you're at a job interview and they're like, what's your greatest weakness and what's your greatest strength? And you're not even allowed to lie about it.
Yeah, Gwendolyn, like, continues to be like, nope, you're lying. Tell the truth. Be honest with yourself. Like, what is your greatest strength? And Meredith's like, my body. I look good. I work hard on my body. This is part of my role. Like, I use my physicality as part of my acting. And I guess that's a good thing to recognize about yourself. But I think Gwendolyn also pushes them a little too far in front of one another.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the point, though, is it to me, Gwendolyn sounds like one of those just horrible people that she sucked as an actor. She could not fucking hack it. So instead, she becomes a teacher and then makes the lives of anyone that's somewhat successful or looking like they're going to be successful miserable because she's jealous.
Yeah. She makes Meredith admit that she's afraid that no one will take her seriously because of her body.
Yeah.
And I feel like just putting that in front of everybody else is terrible.
And that she's not as talented or smart as people think she is because they can't see past her body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed we didn't get anybody else's. They just wrap it up in another part of the book of, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't see anybody else's, honestly. I wonder if there's a reason we get Meredith's. Maybe because it's Oliver?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Real quick, so there's theater, music, dancing, language, art, and philosophy at this school. What was the seventh?
Yeah.
Because they said there's 7 disciplines, and I only counted 6.
What is it? It's theater,
music, dancing, language, art, philosophy,
chorus. They mentioned the chorus separately in that scene.
Okay.
He says something like, we're the loudest, the theater people are the loudest and the most boisterous, and the chorus people are like the opposite or something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the ones the least interested in their art or something like that.
Yes, there are no boundaries with theater people.
Yeah, true. The only time that I worked with theater people was when I had to work on their stage like backgrounds and stuff in art school. And that was pretty fun. There was this one guy I dated and he was in theater and he was fucking crazy. And every conversation I had with him was like, we were playing a game. Like I was like, not saying that all theater people are like that, but that's my experience with theater people.
Yeah. I dated a guy one time that theater as well. And he, like when I met him, he lived in a really tiny apartment, had hardly any furniture, mattress on the floor, beat up car that was always like breaking down, ate ramen, just whatever like cheap foods he could do.
Mattress on the floor is red flag.
And then, but here's the thing, if you don't have the money and you're doing everything you can to put yourself through school, but come to find out, he's fucking rich. But he felt like it made him more authentic to live that way.
Wow.
Yeah. I dumped his ass. But come to find out, so
good.
I was in a class after we broke up, probably about a month or 2 after we broke up. And this girl turns to me and she was like, oh, and his name was Dirk.
Oh my God. His name was Dirk?
Like,
oh my God. Talk about the most fucking punchable name.
For real.
But here's the beautiful thing. So she turns to me and she's like, oh, I'm a good friend of Dirk's. You guys were dating. And I was like, yeah. She said, oh, he told me that he took your virginity. Is that right? And in that moment, my brain like clicked and I was like, absolutely. Because I felt like for the first time, it was really important to start with somebody small so it didn't hurt.
Oh my gosh. Christy. Oh my gosh. You fucking showed him. I can't believe. What, you just walk around telling other people that you took their virginity?
For real.
Oh yeah. I think that was like a super like big thing for him. And I was like, dude, I literally, cause it was college. And I was like, I literally did it just to kind of get past it because, it was time.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Dirk the dick.
Yeah. And after I broke up with him, I can't remember if he's bringing me stuff or whatever, but we met somewhere for some reason and he handed me a letter. And it was like, I knew that it was going to either be time for us to take the next step or to break up. And I'm like, I already fucking broke up with you, dumbass. Like, and no. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Talk about self-important. Yeah. This guy has no fucking clue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Good. I'm glad you moved past that. Oh, shoot. That being said, I do wish I had done more theater in high school. So I wish we had more to bond over, Christy.
I think you would have enjoyed it. It is a lot of fun, and especially it can be such a bonding experience. I know on one of the like independent films that I did, Because they were filming out front, we had to be in the back in this room, but they couldn't have the lights on. So we were literally sitting there all together in the dark, like pitch black, couldn't see.
Oh my God.
And we kept making each other laugh, which would fuck up the sound. And then they would come in and like yell at us. But it was so much fun.
Love that.
So
I never dated a theater guy. I dated different assholes.
Consider yourself lucky, probably. Yeah. Oh, you guys know how I feel about musicians. I still think they're worse. I'll leave it at that. But so we do end up having tea with Frederick, which Frederick, he's such a character. He makes them have honey with their tea. They can't have like cream or sugar with it. I'm like, I know so many people who would throw a fucking fit if they had to drink tea out of a teacup with only honey.
Me.
So many people.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm Southern to the core. We have sweet tea, but it's not honey. It's sugar.
Yeah. And it's like cups of sugar honey.
It's like
cups.
It's like tea flavored sugar.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah. I was telling Johan the other day we need to make more sweet tea. We don't make enough. Listen, I'm
Public
Southern.
sweet tea is actually not that bad. I still have to add a little bit of sugar to it, but it's still not
Also
that
very
bad.
Southern of you to say that. Oh man. We learned that the fourth year students are expected to throw a party at the beginning of the year, kind of as like a we made it kind of thing, and that the teachers are just like look the other way. We also learn that fourth year is the year, maybe we already talked about this, fourth year is the year of tragedy, and I think that's an important thing to note. This is the year of tragedy, and that's literally a theme here.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that they have for some, I feel like it's an assignment or like a celebration. I don't know, but they get these, they have to do Macbeth, the Scottish play on Halloween, and they're not allowed to tell each other what role they were assigned.
Yep.
That sounds like so much fun.
It does sound fun.
Yeah.
I thought the same. I think it's fun that you have to keep it from your friends and then you don't get to rehearse. You just do it and then see what happens.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what makes this scene, I think, once we get to scene 12, is like it's all in the moment and like they're all taking the cues in the moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk about
the storm. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes. No, I agree.
So good.
We learned that Oliver has been given the part of Banquo, which is kind of a big deal for Oliver. It's not just a supporting role. It's a major
bloody
role.
role.
Banquo is So Banquo's kind of a good guy, I guess, in Macbeth. He's kind of a foil character to the character we expect Richard to play as Macbeth. But Richard doesn't get it. James does.
Yeah. And Richard is salty about it.
Yeah, and we don't learn who Richard is until the scene. And Richard's pissed. You could tell, like, immediately. He's, like, unhappy about it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before you guys read scene 12, what did you guys think that he was going to get?
The only thing I know about Macbeth is that it's the Scottish play. And you never,
Fair enough.
you never say the actual name in a theater. And
Yeah. It's a little haunted.
this is no, that's Hamlet. Yep. That's pretty much all I know.
I was honestly not sure. I figured it either wasn't going to go towards his type or it was going to be something just really small and insignificant. And
right.
Which I was kind of surprised about. And it almost seemed to me like maybe James kind of went, not behind his back, but because he's also the one that got Oliver his part.
In this?
For Macbeth, yeah.
I don't think that's necessary. Well, what does he say about it?
He says that he recommended him for that part. But later on, when they're going through it, that he thought that he would be great for that part and that he wanted him to play it. And so it sounds like
I know that James is the favorite of Frederick. So I guess in a way he did get him that part. And I didn't really think of it that way.
read that as like when he found out the dude was Banquo.
Mhm.
Banquo, yeah.
That he said that he thought he would be good for it, but it was kind of like, oh, I'm so glad you got it. I thought you do good, but I didn't get a.
Yeah, that's what I was
He
thinking
talked
too.
to the teacher about it. I know in scene 1 he said that he went to the teacher about getting a different variety of roles.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if it was in regard to this specifically.
Well, they didn't even know they were.
Well, Lord knows.
No. Well,
That could have been my brain, like, creating that storyline. So,
I was thinking when he steps out and James sees him, he's like, I was hoping you were going to get this. But I don't think he was like, I spoke to Frederick and said that you should have this. But
See,
yeah.
my thoughts,
I don't know.
My thoughts were like, I'm seeing the teachers going, let's spice things up a bit. Like,
Yeah. 100%. I definitely think they did it
just
to
see how they do.
play with the dynamics. The teachers are obviously aware that they're all typecast. They know what they're doing. I think Gwendolyn and Frederick were intentionally like, let's mess with them.
well, that's what Gwendolyn said in the beginning, though, is that they were going to fuck with them this year and they were going to push their boundaries. And this would be the perfect way to do
Right.
it, is to take this comfortable situation that they all seem to kind of fall into and then upend it.
Yeah. I think Macbeth is a weird one to do it with too, because it's like it not only like changes all of their roles, but in my mind, they're only doing that one scene, right?
Mhm.
So it's even crazier because they're not pushing them to do the rest of the play. It's just that one scene.
Yeah.
But should we talk about really quickly the slap before I move on to scene 12?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
So they have Camilo is their like fight choreographer.
Yeah. And I mean, I get that he's trying to teach them how to fake slap each other.
Yeah. What do we think is happening in that moment when Camilo is like, he's like, I want you to imagine what Oliver would have to do to make you mad enough to slap him. And then he looks at Oliver and he's like, now I want you to imagine what you did, you know, and how you're going to take that reaction, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And James looks at Oliver and he has this moment of like, I don't know, there's like this moment of tension where James is like really envisioning this or something. And Oliver gets like entranced in what's happening
his
with
mouth?
James and is like watching him.
Mhm.
And he's like, and he just totally disassociates. He zones out and James hits him because he's not doing his part. Oliver is not paying attention. He's thinking of James.
Well, he leans into the slap. He actually moves forward.
Yeah, he kind of goes a little bit forward when he should be going backward a little bit, like to the side.
Uh-huh.
And James slaps him, and there's this moment of like, wait, what is happening here?
Not only does James slap him, and not that it's James's fault, but and then Oliver's like, so, my bad. You hit me, but it was my bad. Like, totally.
It was my fault. That's not on you. That's not on
Yeah.
you. You're perfect. And
Yeah, okay, you made me
You would
bleed,
never make a mistake.
but which I'm sorry, if you slap somebody so hard they bleed, you a little bit at fault there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, why were you going that hard, dude?
Something's weird with James. Like, he's too affable. He's too
Perfect.
nice and wholesome and perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Then we get our first rehearsal for Caesar, like shortly after they've learned their Macbeth parts and they have that whole fight choreography moment. And James is fucking up his lines.
I
like
think both of them are.
him and
Alexander.
Yeah. Yep. Him and Alexander are both, they're not doing well. It's their first rehearsal. They're not prepared for their parts. And Richard is like, what the fuck are we doing? Why are you guys fucking up your lines? You're wasting my time. And this is the first time that Richard is like so fucking rude. I mean, it's the first time that all of us go, oh, yeah, you deserve something to happen to you, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's the first time things aren't going his way.
I kind of loved Alexander in that moment. It's like, okay, you can't just pout about it, but he totally is.
Pouting is exactly the word for it.
That's what he does. He's pouting for like the second half of this section is just him throwing a tantrum.
I didn't get the part I wanted, so woe is me.
I'm not going to be nice to you guys.
Yeah, my life is over. and y'all are going to pay the price because I take my anger out on my supposed family friends.
Yep. And he does it in front of everybody. And Gwendolyn's like, let's take a 5. Alexander walks out for a smoke break because it's Alexander. And Philippa's out there. I think she goes to check on them. Oliver's out there. And Alexander is like, what a fucking piece of shit. And they're just like griping about him.
Yeah.
Because they know that he's just pouting.
And then, what's his name? Richard apologizes to Meredith. And see, my thing is, the James and Alexander are like, damn, he already apologized now. I can't be mad. First of all, he ain't apologized to you yet. You can still be mad. That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. I was like, I'm with Alexander. Fuck him either way.
Yeah.
I also think it's really interesting that Meredith and Ren have to like baby Richard.
Yeah.
Like every time Richard gets upset, one of them has to step in and be like, and like coo at him and be like, "What? Are you okay? Like, why are you so upset?
My poor baby.
Like, why the fuck
your poor little
are we
feelings.
babying him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fucking drama queen.
Yep.
It's like, can you get over your fucking self for
This
one moment?
theater kid is a drama queen?
No. Yeah. He's so self-important,
He
you know?
is.
He's like
Insecure.
very much, yes.
He's main character energy, except for there are no other
Well-
main characters. There's just him and his life, and the world revolves around him and his wants and his needs. And
Well, I think it stems from that insecurity that you are this type of person because you do these kinds of things. And then if those things are taken away from you, then who are you? And so, yeah, I think it 100% these kinds of people, whether theater or not, are just deeply, deeply insecure.
Well, it's like, is he playing his role? Is he playing the tyrant? Like, is he so used to playing that part that he thinks that he can be that role and into his friends? Are the lines already like blurring there? You know, like he thinks he can fucking throw a tantrum and then move on.
Or is he the tyrant and found roles that he could be himself in?
Yes, it's like that's the question. Is it art imitating life? Right? What is it?
Which is the mask.
Yeah. So you start to question it then, you know? Like, we start to see that all of their roles are blending, and so that Macbeth kind of throws that up in the air. They can no longer play those roles. So let's talk about that scene. Do we want to talk about the Frederick's class before scene 12?
yeah, I was just about to say the debate on the different levels of tragedy and who the hero is was, I feel like, very thematically important. I'm sorry,
On the nose.
Richard, heroes are only supposed to have one flaw. If you have two, sorry, you can't be a hero. It's not your actions, it's the amount of flaws that you have.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's such an interesting conversation that Richard thinks that he's the hero.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. And that's obviously going to play some role here. But, ugh.
Yeah. And it really makes me question, like, how can he play the roles that he does and still think he's a hero?
Mm.
Like, is it delusion or is this how he understands the play?
Delusion. But then again,
Both, maybe.
then again, we're all the heroes of our own story, right?
I guess.
That's how he understands the world. Not just this play,
Yeah.
but the world. I think absolutely delusion.
Then we have the comment from Meredith when she's talking about Caesar and Lady M, and they argue over whether Brutus and Cassius are villains. Like, Brutus being supposed to be the good guy, the hero, Cassius kind of being the questionable sidekick. Meredith says that they kill Caesar, but they set themselves up for disaster. And Ren goes, but they're not the villains, are they? And they start this whole conversation about Cassius maybe, but Brutus does what he does for the good of Rome, for the greater good, right?
And the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Didn't we
Yes,
talk about this last
exactly.
book? Just saying.
I maybe these books were well put together for a season. But one thing that I noted was eventually Meredith says, Brutus's only tragic flaw is that he's dumb enough to listen to Cassius. So, like, Brutus is not actually at fault. He's just too dumb because he's listening to Cassius. So it's really not his fault. He's not a villain.
Yeah.
You know?
He's just dumb. But then again,
Just kind of
some of the villains in real life are just dumb, but they have power.
Oh, yeah. God. Yeah.
Oh, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
This is where James lashes out at Richard while they're having this debate that turns into a full argument. And he basically is like, well, you would fucking know all about those terrible things that villains are. Self-important, like, asshole. And Richard is so broody and angry about it. Like,
I'm giving you a chance to change what you said.
I cannot take him.
How dare you speak to the king like that?
Literally.
You can't possibly have meant that.
I'm giving you a moment to take it back. It is like, shut the fuck up, Richard.
He's so dramatic.
Shut the fuck up. I don't blame them for being like, God, he's so annoying, you know?
We wouldn't have lasted very long as friends.
No, I would have been fighting him every day.
But how creepy was it that their makeup came so easily? Like that.
The truce?
It feels superficial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
It's definitely a, let's just not talk about it, and then we can pretend that it never happened and let it build up and all this other things that, you know.
But, like, it makes you wonder, is there stuff going on that we're not seeing, like, in the classroom? Like, between James and Richard?
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
We're only getting what Oliver sees.
Right.
Yeah. And
But you would think that he would see more.
Well, it makes me feel like at this point that, I don't know, maybe the epic thing that happens is that James kills Richard and then Oliver takes the blame for it because he loves James.
Yeah, because he loves James.
Mm-hmm. And it could be in a non-romantic way as well, but just there's that idolization there.
I definitely think he loves him.
Like, woohoo kind of love, or like,
bound chicka wow wow.
like, how you doing?
I mean, he did.
I don't know. At the end of
he did jump on him in that bed, right? While he was sleeping.
Well, the leopard thing, I love that he was so into it.
James jumps on Oliver.
Yeah. James was practicing being a leopard.
Yeah, that was acting. God, Brittany.
My bad.
And then wanting him to make sure he was scared. But it does say, I mean, James says that he's very jealous of other people trying to take over his best friend role.
Yes, I agree with that.
I've been there.
There's also the moment with the slap, which is weird. And then there's also the moment in scene 12, which we need to talk about. So let's talk about what happens here. We open this scene with Oliver is he's clothed in this like fake military garb. He's walking through the bushes because he's trying to get to his place his place for the play. And he bumps into James.
Hold on. I have to, in my vision of this, because he talks about it being like this huge forest, right? That he's tripping, he's bawling because it's so foresty and stuff like that. And in my mind,
yeah,
because of how dramatic they are, I really was picturing one of those beach paths with like the concrete path that you can easily walk on with a couple like trees on the sides. And that he's like tripping all over the place and like, oh my God, I can't make it through the thick nature.
They describe it like the woods, don't they? Like a woods?
Yeah.
They do, but it's through his vision.
Christy's saying she's thinking that he's being dramatic, but
yes,
you have to remember, it's Illinois.
It's the forest, the Wailing Woods from Zodiac Academy.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
This was like a Zodiac Academy theater troupe.
For me, I was like imagining.
Could you imagine Darius?
Oh my God. Oh my God. We've been really in a Zodiac Academy mood lately.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was like the beach is fake, not the forest. Because can you imagine a real beach in Illinois? No. Like, I don't know what their beach looks like. I don't know what Illinois looks like. Like, my mind can't comprehend that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Chicago once, and I mean,
isn't that like the Windy City?
Yeah. But do
they have beaches?
They had a dock and a lake.
That's my thing. I imagine like a lake, not a real like beach that we are familiar with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very true.
But-
I was picturing it like our beach, not like on the shore of a lake beach.
To me, I'm picturing it like a lake. Like
Mhm.
there's brush and forest behind it, but the beach itself is not actually that big. It's more like La Push from like the movie La Push. Although I guess that's kind of more of a beach,
Yeah.
but
I'm thinking more like the swampy area around here.
yeah, swampy kind of like there's not a big section of beach, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so of course it's storming, like Christy said. Like
Love
it's
it.
so the drama. It's lightning. It's like so perfect for this scene. James bumps into Oliver, or Oliver bumps into James, and he's like, "Who's there?" And James is like, "Oh my God, Oliver! I'm glad it's you. Like you're Banquo." And he's like, "Yes." And they have this moment where they're getting dressed together, right? Oh, that's later. He's like, "I had hoped you might be Banquo," and they're talking about their parts very briefly because they have to like go on to stage very quickly. All of a sudden, there's lightning, and there's 3 figures in the water, and they came up out from under a boat, which had been turned upside down so that they could walk under the boat and then kind of like emerge from the water, right? And this is the witches, which is played by Philippa, Wren, and Meredith. The boys are entranced. They are like locked on because the girls are wet and they're wearing these white sheaths and you can see through literally all of it. And the boys are like, "Oh my God." And
Except for James. He's not interested, according to
Oliver.
Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. James was looking. It says that they're both like, zeroing in on it. So it just, I don't know. We'd have to, that's up for interpretation. But they run through their quick lines in the early part of the scene, and then Oliver walks out into the ocean a little bit, and Meredith is like touching on him, and then the witches are talking to him. And there's this moment where he's getting excited from Meredith doing her part, but she's clearly into it. But he's looking back at James while he's getting excited, and he's like, "Wait, hold on." He's like, "Play your part, but also, what does James think of this?" And it's kind of like a moment of like, what's happening right now? What is going on?
Mhm.
It's very understated, but it's very much like, is James interested in this? Because James is watching them like with rapt attention during this. And there's this weird like, is this sexual tension between Meredith, Oliver, and James? All of them? What's happening? Also, Alexander plays Hecate, which I think is fucking crazy. I love that Alexander plays Hecate and is like shirtless during it. I was like, how did they cast that? I don't know, but he plays his part and it's over quickly. So there's a scene between James and Oliver afterwards where he has to like go back in the shed and like change.
Don't blood
And
Oliver him.
Oliver is like, "Help me." He's like, "Help me take off my clothes," because he's like wet now. And
Bound
James is
chicka
like, "Okay,
wow
here."
wow.
And he strips him. And then he pours fake blood onto Oliver, who has to come back out all bloody
Which the
and
whole
stuff.
time I was sitting there going, "Shit, that's not fake blood, or is it? That's not fake blood, is it? Because there's a lot of it, and they said it stinks, and it's going to be real blood, and oh my God, and Richard said he hasn't shown up yet, and oh my God, he's dead, and this is going to be real blood," and then it was nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. It was Richard in the bucket.
I was like,
I was reading your notes going, oh my God, she thought it was real blood. Oh my God, it's not that deep.
I was getting all excited. I was like, "This is it! This is it!" No.
Which that would have been crazy. That would have been pretty crazy and fun. But did anyone else feel like Meredith coming on to Oliver was like kind of left field?
Yeah.
And it happens in the scene and after the scene.
I was like, why is she flirting with him? And why is he flirting back? Like, what?
It makes you wonder. So are their roles changing up part of that? Is she seeing Oliver in a different light because of how things are changing? Is it because he's playing a different role that he gets to be flirted with by Meredith? Like what? I don't know. obviously it's not that straightforward, but I think there's something going on.
Yeah.
With the melding of their roles and their characters. You know what I mean?
It feels like a social experiment, honestly.
So is it even possible that his interpretation of the scene isn't or not of the scene, of the interaction isn't correct? That
I mean, I'm sure that's
the way he is saying it
Unreliable narrator.
is vastly, yeah, exactly. That's what I was kind of wondering, is if that was the case and him reading into something.
What do you think is the unreliable part?
The fact that you can't necessarily trust that things are the way that he's portraying them.
Right.
Because it's from his perspective. Basically, any.
I mean, what to you do you think in this scene is the
her
fake
flirting
part? Yeah, flirting.
Her flirting, that there's something there that seems to be over and above like a typical friendly interaction of maybe just because they do mess with each other and pick on each other and stuff like that. So, is it him reading?
The reason I say he might be an unreliable narrator is because, one, he did say very at the beginning that he's very good with secrets. And two, he's an actor. So I feel like...
True. I think you should hold on to that. I'm just kind of picking your brain on what you think is feeling genuine and like what do you think is not feeling genuine. I don't think you're wrong to think he's an unreliable narrator. I'm just pushing that button a little bit.
I think the motivations. I think that the way he sees Meredith and how she is reacting to him and maybe how she says things or some of her actions, like, even with, her pulling like him into the water and stuff like that. I think for her is probably a friendly gesture of just like she would with maybe anybody else. But I think the way he reads into it and the way that he sees it happening is vastly different.
Do you think maybe he's reading her that way because that's how he's supposed to? Like, that's a role that she plays? Like, that's like she works within that role, both in the play and outside of the play. You know what I mean? Do you think that he's reading it that way and kind of like becoming like everybody else in the sense that he just immediately sees her sex appeal and doesn't see Meredith for like who she is?
I think it could be, but I think a lot of it too is perhaps with this role that he was given, maybe he sees himself as like, maybe before he saw him, he didn't see himself in any sense of truly seen by the other people. Who he is, what his talents are, anything like that. But maybe being given that role, maybe it's just a taste enough that he wants that next step. And now he sees, oh, well, she wants me. This person wants me. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's something to think about.
Everybody's fawning over him at this moment about like, you're so good. You look so good. And like, let me touch.
You did so well.
Yeah.
Also, I was like, ew, she tasted the blood. Ew, ew.
Yeah, there's a moment when he's done that he, like, people come up to him, that, like, students come up to him because they were in the audience. And it's, like, students he doesn't even know. And they're like, Oliver, you did so good. And he's like, wait, what? You know my name?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, of course they know your name. You're one of 7 people in the 4th year. But even still, Oliver thinks that. Now...
Which actually, that stands to reason. Only 7 people made it, and one of those is someone that is background character material only.
Right, exactly. Like, he thinks he's a throwaway character. He thinks he's leftovers, but he's one of 7 people. They kicked out everyone else. And it's the same for Philippa. Like, she often gets casted to the side, right? But she's clearly playing an important role. I mean... They are still in the program.
Yeah.
Now, at the end, we get this really fun scene where they're all partying because, like, the play transitions immediately into the party. Like, as soon as the professors are gone, they're fucking drinking, smoking. If you're Alexander, they're playing chicken in the ocean. Philippa and Alexander are like reigning supreme, like against everybody else. But Richard is still pouting.
Yeah, I was going to say Richard's pouting and Meredith gets Oliver to go to the ocean to play chicken. And she invites Richard to come, and he's like, no, I want to stay dry. And so I was like, the dick is going to stay dry tonight.
Yep, the dick is not getting wet. Now, notably, she doesn't invite James because she knows that James will say no.
Yeah. Although he ends
Do we think she picked Oliver for a reason?
I don't know, and this is very, I don't know. They might view...
Couldn't she have played with Ren?
She could have. They might... First, I think... They might view Oliver as easily manipulated.
Yes.
And also, if she's fighting with her boyfriend, couples are known to do things to make the other one jealous.
Yeah, absolutely. She's definitely doing that.
Could have been a factor.
I got that vibe, too. I definitely got that vibe, is that she knows James will say no, so who's the next best thing that she can use to upset Richard? Because she's annoyed with Richard right now.
Yeah.
And she's annoyed that he's pouting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was really weird that he came over and he was like, take your hands off my cousin. And yet he did not care one bit about Oliver's hands on his girlfriend.
Yeah, so James ends up getting convinced to play after Meredith and Oliver throw the king and queen off of their throne, that being Philippa and Alexander. And then Meredith is like, convinces Ren and James to play, and James agrees, but he never gets to play because Richard fucking throws a fit about it and is like, don't touch her. It's like, why are you getting up in arms about Ren?
Yeah, because it's all about James. It's not about Ren. It's James took my role, and I'm going to put him in his place.
And now he's going to say he's protecting Ren, but...
Is there a chance that James and Meredith were together and that he knows about it? And maybe that's why James doesn't seem that into her, because he already has her.
You would think that James and Meredith would be together based on their roles, right?
Yeah.
If they're all playing this role and we're supposed to think that their roles like blur with their characters, Meredith at some point would have been with James, right?
Yeah.
That's what you would think. We don't read that. We don't hear that. It seems to be like James and Ren are kind of like paired here in the way that Meredith and Richard are expected to be an item. James and Ren get paired here, almost like Ren immediately looks at James and is like, we can do it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a forced pairing or if it's just like those are the last two left. But
what would just be the only explanation for Richard's reaction? Because like you said, it's his cousin. Why would he give a shit about them together?
I think it's because he hates James. He views James as a threat to his security as the top dog, the main attraction, the character that, as they said, that leaves an impression on the audience. He's the one that impresses the audience or scares the audience. And those are the kind of characters that you remember when you go watch a play. Yeah. And I think that James is a threat to that. And so it didn't matter who he chose. Richard was going to pick a fight with him.
Yeah.
And apparently try to murder him.
Yeah.
Which, why the fuck would you try to like slap him or pull his hands away? Grab up under there and squeeze his nuts. He will let go. I did not understand why.
To be fair, this is
in the heat of the moment.
This literally has happened to me. My brother's best friend picked me up, threw me in the pool, and then held me down because he thought it was funny. And I did the same thing because you just panic.
Yeah, you just panic.
No, not you. Not James. Not James getting his nuts. I'm talking about everybody else around him who could have easily reached down there and squoze.
I mean, they're panicking too.
They were in shock too. Is this really fucking happening right in front of our face?
Yeah, but see, go for the nuts. Go for the nuts. If there's trouble, that's what you go for.
I definitely think they were all going, what the fuck? Like, they didn't think that Richard would take it as far as he did. He held James's face into the ocean and was not letting up. And at the end, all of them are on top of Richard before he lets up. It's like 6 people, maybe 7, because, what is his name? Connor? Or whoever the second year is?
Or something
Conrad?
something like that.
Yeah.
It's a C.
I don't
See,
remember.
dude.
And see, again, none of that was necessary. You reach down there and you squeeze the shit out of his nuts. Problem solved. James is up breathing.
Well,
and then
I will tell Oliver that for Act 2.
And he came up doing the exact same thing that my brother's ex-best friend did. Oh, it was just a joke of playing around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They always say that.
Yeah. Why can't you take a joke? Ugh.
God, it was just a joke.
But you feel like something else has to be there. If he's that angry that he was going to fucking kill him, there has to be something else there versus just the role. That was like the final straw.
I don't think it's the role necessarily. It's the threat. It's people kill each other over the stupidest things. Money, love, power. It is, if he feels like James is taking his power.
It is, but what I'm saying is there has to be something in front of that happened that was leading up to that just that one action. It wasn't like things were rosy and they were great and then he got the role and now he doesn't like James. It feels like this has to be like a long-standing feud or jealousy that we just don't see maybe the start of it yet.
Maybe. I don't know. So how are we feeling? What do we think is going to happen after this?
I'm thinking Richard is going to die.
I think James.
Or James, one of them. I think whatever happens involves one of them.
I don't think James.
And I would like for Richard to die.
Okay, so Richard.
Especially if the killer is going to get away with it and Oliver is going to take the blame.
Yes.
So I'm thinking Richard's going to die. Potentially James is going to be the one that killed him and there's a cover up. But I don't know how he explains why they need to cover it up.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Because it sounds like it's the whole group involved.
It does, but it didn't sound like, or unless I missed it, that anybody else was in jail. Were the other members in jail as well? Or I guess everyone could have died, but
that was my thought until I got to the very end. I went back and put, hey, does this mean that they're all in jail, or did they all did Oliver take it for all of them, or did they get away with it, or are they in jail under minor charges, or what?
I don't know.
It'd be kind of fucked up if they all knew he was innocent and they left him there to rot.
Do we think it's just one person who dies?
Oh, or they're all dead and Oliver's the last one standing?
Interesting.
Well, you said it would be crazy if Oliver takes the blame for everyone.
Interesting.
Who do we think would allow him to take the blame?
James.
Okay. Why do we say that if that's his best friend?
I don't know.
It's his best friend from his point of view.
Okay.
But we don't know how James feels about him. And as being in the theater, he may see Oliver as his fan, his entourage.
His sidekick.
Oh, yikes. Okay. All right. What about the other?
I honestly don't think they give two shits about Oliver.
Damn.
He's like the fugly friend.
He's the support.
So only James potentially cares about Oliver?
I don't think James cares about Oliver.
I think that they've kind of care about all of them, each other.
They're playing the role. Yeah. They're together because they have to be, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Well, we'll end there. We hope that you'll join us for next week's episode, which we're going to be discussing If We Were Villains Act 2. New episodes drop each week, and don't forget to check out last season's discussion on the Bride duology, or even this season's discussion on Blood over Brighthaven, available now.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us to continue to bring you new episodes each week, so please, please, please do so. You can also support us by joining us on Patreon. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.